Are your characters' conversations captivating or cringeworthy? Dialogue can make or break your story. Welcome, Scribes of the Extraordinary, and today we're going beyond entertainment and diving deeper into the craft of storytelling by talking about dialogues. In this video, we're going to talk about things you shouldn't do with dialogue, as well as give you some alternatives of things you should do, all to bolster your story. Now, dialogue brings your characters to life, and it is used to drive the plot forward. And dialogue is the main way, especially if you are writing scripts. It is one of the most important things you can do. But dialogue is one of the most important ways in which you convey your characters, your plot, and what is going on. So it's really important to get right. Ever felt lost in a sea of words? Well, let's get some clarity. Don't overload dialogue with unnecessary details. Do you spout an encyclopedia every time you talk? I hope not. But you want to keep your dialogue clear and purposeful. Remember, dialogue is there to serve the story or reveal character. And throwing in a lot of unnecessary detail into your character's dialogue is going to detract from what is actually really important to convey. Don't use dialogue as an information dump. Please don't use dialogue as an information dump, especially when you use the tag of, "Oh, as you know." Well, if someone knows something, why are you explaining it to them? What you do want to do is you want to integrate information naturally. So don't just have your character start spouting about how your world came into existence. No one wants to hear that except for you. I'm sorry, world builders. No one will care about how much love you've put into your world except for you and those few Tolkien fans out there who have read every part of his work and have memorized it. I'm not saying don't put that much effort into your world building, but don't have your characters spew out everything of your world building. You want to integrate information naturally. So if your character doesn't understand something about the world, have them ask the questions to people who would know something. And don't have a character just spout a bunch of information because they could possibly know it. I mean, people don't ask you questions and you just go on and on and on and on for 5 minutes straight on this one topic and get into the little nitty-gritty details of it, unless you're doing a presentation of some sort or you are teaching someone. Even then, it's going to be a gradual give and take. Dialogue, conversation is giving and taking. It's going back and forth. So don't have your characters monologue about your world or any information. Don't write dialogue that doesn't move the story forward. Don't write filler dialogue. Every scene needs conflict, so your dialogue should be a part of that. So do ensure that every single conversation contributes to either character development or plot progression. And character development and plot progression, you can keep moving your story forward even when things slide backwards and go wrong. That's still progress. But you want your dialogue to be used to move your story forward. So look at your work, look at your manuscript, look at your script. If you see any dialogue that's in there that's not either actively causing character development or actively moving the plot forward, then scrap it or change it. We don't want any filler, unnecessary things in here. We want the story to keep going forward. That is how you're going to keep your audience engaged with your work. Now, what challenges do you typically face while writing dialogue? Let me know in the comments below, and then we can help each other get better at this craft. For me, some of the challenges that come with facing dialogue are I tend to put too much information in my dialogue, but that's what rewrites are for. You can always fix something as long as it's written on the page first. Now, are you struggling to make your characters sound real? Well, authenticity is key, and so is reading your stuff out loud. So, don't make all your characters sound the same. This is one of the biggest things that brand new writers do and is blatantly obvious is every single character sounds the same. One way to avoid this, and this is very helpful for script writers because of the formatting of it, but you should be able to look at dialogue, strictly dialogue, without any name indicators and be able to tell who's talking. That doesn't mean every single sentence, every single thing said needs to be laden with all of these words in order for you to get the gist of it. But you want to be able to look, if you know the character well enough, you want to be able to look over your dialogue and be able to tell when people are changing, when someone else is talking, and that they sound like multiple different people even without name indicators. Why is this? It's because even when people grow up in the exact same environment, or they know each other very well, or they speak to each other often, everyone thinks differently. So everyone is going to speak differently. You can grow up in a household with a twin, and one can be very loud and boisterous, and one can be very quiet and like to have more intimate conversations where the other one likes to be a jokester. Your dialogue needs to reflect your characters. So do give each of your characters a unique voice. Consider their background, consider their personality, consider their motivations. Everyone is going to sound a little bit different, even if they are from the same culture, the same family. Now, don't use overly formal or unnatural language. The key word there is overly. Do write dialogue that reflects real speech patterns. Do we speak in grammatically perfect sentences? No. No, we don't. Just gave you some of that there. In fact, as I'm editing my videos, I realize that I speak in run-on sentences. So you don't speak grammatically correct. So do write characters with real speech patterns. Add contractions when appropriate. Don't instead of do not. You want to make your dialogue sound natural. And one way to really notice if your dialogue sounds natural or not is read it out loud. When you're reading your dialogue, does it sound weird in your mouth? If so, you need to make some tweaks. Now, I said don't use overly formal or unnatural dialogue. Some people do speak more formally. Some people do have a very weird way of speaking, and that's okay. But you want to just flavor your characters with these dialogue tweaks. An intelligent person may know a large number of more words than the average Joe, but unless they're trying to very much showcase their intelligence, they're not going to be speaking like they're a dictionary. They're going to be using words that everyone would understand, maybe occasionally throwing a more difficult word in here or there. Or if you have nobility, they're going to speak more formally than someone who's a commoner. And that's fine. The key word there is don't overly. Do use real speech patterns. Number 6, don't ignore the power of silence. Silence speaks volumes. In fact, Mozart, along with many other musicians, have been credited with some phrasing of this sentence. Music is in the pauses. The music is in the silence. If you take all the musical notes in a song and string them together without a break, it's going to be a cacophony of chaos and it's not going to be nice to listen to. But the rhythm and the beauty comes from the pauses. So use silence. Your characters don't need to be talking 24/7. Sometimes they don't have anything to say. Sometimes they can't think of what to say. So do use pauses. Use silence to build tension. Use silence to convey unspoken thoughts. Your character might be wrestling with something that they just can't formulate or don't feel like they can trust someone enough to share. So if in the middle of a conversation, the character suddenly goes silent, well, that speaks volumes about what's going on inside of them. So how do you ensure that your characters have a distinct voice? What are some things that you like to use while writing dialogue? I'd love to hear more about it in the comments so we can all help each other grow with more techniques. Now, words can be powerful, but what's left unsaid can be even more impactful. This is my favorite part of dialogue. Is don't state emotions directly. Do show emotions through action and subtext. Going back to silence. Sometimes your characters just can't say what's on their mind or in their heart to say, so they're silent. They go quiet. They start doing something else. You want to showcase emotions through context. Here is a peak example of this. If you are angry at someone, do you immediately go and talk to them and tell them exactly that you're angry with them and why you're angry? How many of you do that? I can probably bet not many of you do. We don't tell people our emotions. We might say, oh, I'm so excited for this. But when we're genuinely upset about something, when we're excited about something, it comes out in other ways other than just you screaming, I'm excited for this. So don't do that in your dialogue. Sure, maybe you can have someone say, I'm excited, or, oh, that makes me so annoyed. But usually people don't verbalize their emotions by saying the word of the emotion unless it's more of like a surface fleeting thing. Like, oh, I'm so excited to see this movie. Versus you won an award and you're speechless and you're like, can you guys believe this? See the difference in excitement? One is very much with action, with very little specific verbs. So don't show emotion, don't state emotion directly. Show it through their actions and through the subtext. Now, don't make dialogue predictable. How do you not make dialogue predictable? What you do is conceal intention. People don't say what they are thinking, my friends. We often do not express ourselves in the manner that we're thinking. We have thoughts that filter through our minds and come out of our mouths. Even if you're someone who says what you're thinking, you still can have hidden meanings and hidden thoughts underneath of that. So don't make dialogue predictable. Do conceal your intention. Add layers. There are things that are spoken, there are things that are unspoken, and there are things that can't be spoken. So, don't neglect the use of subtext in dialogue. Do layer your conversations with underlying meanings and implications. Subtext adds depth. Now, here is an example of what I'm talking about. In Captain America, the First Avenger, when they have assembled their team together and they're at a club dancing for the evening, having a drink, hanging out before their mission. Peggy comes over to Steve, talks to him about something to do with tomorrow, and she says, "I see your top squad is prepping for duty." Bucky, "You don't like music?" Peggy, "I do actually. I might even, when this is all over, go dancing." Bucky, "Then what are we waiting for?" Peggy, "The right partner." She walks away. Bucky turns to Steve and goes, "I'm invisible. I'm turning into you. It's a horrible dream." Now, the subtext of that scene is Bucky's trying to flirt with Peggy, but the entire time she's answering him, she's talking to him. The entire time she's looking at Steve. The subtext of that scene, Bucky even picked up on at the end. He knew exactly what was going on, and it was a very funny moment. But the subtext of that scene is, "Hey, do you want to hang out?" "Oh, I plan to celebrate with the right person," staring at Steve, telling him you're the right person. That is how you add depth to your dialogue. Add subtext to your dialogue. If your first draft is filled with everyone is stating exactly what they're thinking, that's fine, but do not print it that way. Go over your second draft and add subtext. Instead of someone saying, "I'm frustrated," say, "I wish this changed. I wish this was different." You want to add these little nuances to your dialogue to make it feel more real. So, what is your favorite way to convey emotion through dialogue? Personally, I love using subtext. I love when it feels like there's two conversations actually going on at once. What about you? Let me know in the comments below how you love to convey emotion in dialogue. Now, by focusing on clarity, authenticity, and emotion, you are going to make your dialogue more rich, more depth, and feel more real. So if you found this video helpful, which I really hope that you did, I would appreciate a subscribe so that I could keep making these videos for you all to help you on your writing journey. All my scribes of the extraordinary, that's all that I have for you today. I look forward to our next encounter as we continue our path of going beyond entertainment, one step at a time.